Okay, let's take a look at how you do some very basic keyword searching. What happens with keyword searches is you put in terms, let's just choose autism as a term, and when I do the search, the catalog looks through all of the records for all of the books, all of the journal titles, all of the DVD titles, and anytime it sees the word autism or any keyword you put in, it grabs that record and puts it in this list. So you see we have 405 results. We see autism here in the title. I suspect if we go into the second one and look in the record, we're going to see autism in the record in one place. And so we know that 405 books have the keyword autism in it. Well, the problem with that is that this is very broad. We're getting a lot of different books, and autism is just appearing somewhere in that record. And we even end up with a book by Darryl Strawberry. Why? Because again, autism appears in the record. So that's fine, but it doesn't. We don't really have the time to go through a lot of these results. So what we need to do is work on ways on being more specific about our search terms and in our searches. So one way we can do that is to get more is to add a term. Let me add a term first, and let me add education to the term. But before I do that, let me just demonstrate what would happen if we put education in as a keyword search. I get 10,000 results, and it says search results were truncated, which means that I got even more than 10,000 results. So anytime the term education appears in a record, it's going to end up on this list. That's a lot. But what happens if we take education, we leave our Boolean operator as and we put autism in? Now what's going to happen here is the computer will look for both education and autism. And if it finds both of those terms in the record, then it will give me that record in my results list. So as you can see, 119 results. We had 405 for autism, but we added education to the search, and now we're down to 119. So we're pretty sure that these books are going to be focused more on autism and education, but it's not a guaranteed. Here's a book by George Will, and it wouldn't surprise me to see that somewhere in this he's done an article on autism, manners versus social autism, and somewhere he's done a little article on education that's also been highlighted. I don't see it offhand, but it's in there somewhere. If you see it, write me and tell me where it was. But if I'm doing a paper on autism and education, that George Will book probably isn't going to help me. So it's still not a perfect search. You still have to go through these results and pick the ones that are most appropriate for your paper. Now another way we can cut down on our results is to get more specific about the term. So I'm going to put in Asperger's syndrome, and I'm going to make this as a phrase. Since I got two words in my keyword here, that means that it's going to keep them both together. It's only going to pick out things where Asperger's syndrome appears. If I didn't say as a phrase, it would look for Asperger's, it would look for syndrome as two separate words. So we click on search, and look at that, I only got 38 results for Asperger's syndrome. And because Asperger's syndrome is a more specific type of autism, I've got fewer results. So that's going to work on any subject. The more specific the term, the fewer results you're going to have, and that can be pretty helpful. And also, it's important to remember that it's very useful to have a more specific subject for your paper rather than a broad subject. But more on that later. That's the basic keyword searches.